Imagine a single construction project costing $500 billion. That's bigger than the entire economy of some countries. The creators of ChatGPT, Nvidia, and Oracle are teaming up to build it right in the US. But the government thinks this dream team might actually be an illegal monopoly in the making. It's called Project Stargate, a massive collaboration between the heavy hitters of tech, OpenAI, Nvidia, and Oracle. They plan to build a network of supercomputers across the US to power the next generation of artificial intelligence. While they claim it will cure diseases and secure US leadership, critics warn it creates a choke point where three companies control the most important resources of the future, AI computing power. What do you think about this, John?
Yeah, I'm disappointed in the article itself because I thought that they were actually building a real Stargate before I read it. So I was all excited that, hey, AI's got something going on and they figured it out, and we're getting a portal to other dimensions or whatever.
So we talked about Project Stargate before, where they were planning on building a bunch of these data centers across the U.S., money from the government on all this. So critics are now coming along saying, "Hey, wait a minute, why only these three companies? Why are they getting the money? Et cetera, et cetera." And it's all, it is what it is, right? Do you want to be leadership? The U.S. government says we need to be a leader in AI and we want to make these investments, and whatever bidding process or whatever, they pick these companies. Great. Now they're going to say, why'd you pick these companies? Why isn't everybody else involved? Why? And they'll ideally figure out a better solution that includes more like Anthropic and a few other people that get to be a part of this and potentially build a better AI future for North America. But as it stands right now, this seems like a big boys club. What do you think?
Yeah, so this is, let's talk about that antitrust a little bit. So the guy from Yale Law, he was arguing that it could violate the Sherman Act and the Clayton Act, which are core U.S. antitrust statutes. I think we covered the Sherman Act before. So these laws essentially prevent collaborations that restrain competition, it reduce price pressure, or create monopolistic control, for those of you that don't know. So the concern isn't just about existing power, but future competitive harm. So when rivals share strategic decisions or infrastructure, they may have reduced incentive to innovate, undercut prices, or compete for customer independently. So the examples underscored include questions about whether Oracle will continue aggressive pricing against Microsoft cloud services when both benefit from Stargate's success, or whether Nvidia and Microsoft will continue competing on their own AI hardware roadmaps when bound in a shared infrastructure venture. Again, with the current administration, who knows what is going to happen of this? In my opinion, I think it'll get the go-ahead. If it was another administration, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think if they are smart, they would figure this out and take this to the Supreme Court now. If there's issues, like get it dealt with this administration, next administration. If we're talking about this level of investment, and this is why it's hard to do this kind of infrastructure in the US and Canada, and why nuclear is usually a problem, because it takes years and years of investment. And if the political winds blow a different direction, the next admin can come in at any time and cancel these projects, and people are out billions of dollars. So the thought is, hey, get this figured out now, because if this truly is for a US or North American or whatever AI at foothold advantage, then don't have us set back by the next administration because you decided to favor three companies, that you decided to do these things. So I don't know if we're on the same page ahead, but I want it to go ahead in a legally approved and fair framework that gets approved by the Supreme Court, so it doesn't get canceled later. And hopefully that includes more people and more companies and more involved for whatever level, at whatever level. But I don't know if that's what's going to happen.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. I kind of agree with you, but I want it to go ahead with a fair legal analysis and check off, not a one-sided legal, if I can put it politically correct.
That's why I said go take it to the Supreme Court. Like, that's why, I mean, you know,
but the Supreme Court is heavily favored to one side.
Yeah, you say favored to one side, but they're favored towards the law. You know, you sit back and say, here's the thing. The point is they're setting precedent for everything in the future. They're not just making one decision. That's why, you know, I'm not going to say it's this or that, you know, like Trump, hate Trump, whatever. The point being is put the legal framework in place that makes it fair, that'll pass the legality tech, and the Supreme Court goes ahead, so it's legal for the future. What that means, have 10 AI companies, have more database companies, have this and that. But the other problem is, if it's all the secure data, how do you secure all the people involved? How do you secure all the information involved, and secrets don't get leaked? So some stuff needs to be done. But I'm a little bit afraid of, you know, the government gets involved and it's analysis by paralysis. We spend all the money in meetings and doing whatever, and nothing gets done. So I want the middle ground where we move forward with a solid legal framework that works, because that's not a monopoly. That is however it works. Say, hey, you're going to don't build one, you're building 5 of these. So don't build a $500 billion one, build 3 $200 billion ones or whatever. And one's going to be run by Anthropic and somebody else. And I don't know. I have to look at the data. But the point being is we have time now to sit back and say, this is great. We love the basic concept of the idea. But we don't know if I sit back and say, in my capacity, I don't know if these guys are going to be the leaders in 2, 3, 5, 10 years. Why would we put all our money in one basket?
Yeah, exactly.
So anti-competitor, whatever, it's just say, you know, if it was Canada and I say, this is our AI future, yeah, sure. OpenAI is a leader and what have you, but they've also proven that other companies can surpass them pretty quickly without. So why would we not have Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, you know, whoever, 5 or 6 saying, let's work together.
Yeah.
Let's figure out what that means. Again, I don't know what that means. That might be separate data centers for each of these that we can pump into and use them specialty. And I'm also the right tool for the right job. You know, each of these LLMs excel at different things. So when you start putting these together, I'm a little concerned about the monopoly. I'm also a little concerned about, you know, the government just slowing things down. But
yeah,
I do want the stuff to proceed in a non-monopolistic style, so that we can actually proceed, and that other companies and other things can start to do the same thing and compete, because you put a legal framework in place. Like I said, you know, if Anthropic doesn't be part of this, they're raising for 300 million. They could work with someone else and say, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to compete, but we're building our own. Great. Yeah. We've already got the groundwork to show you how to do it. Competition welcome. Let's go. So I don't know how this is going to turn out, and I'm not an expert on the ins and outs of legal stuff here, but I like the idea of where Project Stargate is going, and the medical breakthroughs and the other things we could get out of it are just such a big advantage that I don't want it to slow it down too much. So I'm with you that we have to make sure that there's some restraints of trade and monopolization, but now's the time, right? Like, now's the time to address these issues and say, okay, do this. How do we make more people involved? How do we take this stuff away and make it less barrier to entry for other people? And say, okay, we'll give you, we're dividing up, we're building this data infrastructure, but everybody gets Nvidia chips. Well, Amazon says we got our own chips and Google's got their own chips. Why aren't you buying our chips? At some point, you have to kind of say enough's enough, but I don't know where that is.
Exactly. Yeah. This seems to me like it should be more like an RFP kind of thing, instead of just these companies coming together, if that makes sense. Like, for each stream of work or expertise, there should be an RFP for companies to get involved. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and again, it just depends on how much money of this is covering from the government versus private sector. you know, if most of it's coming from the private sector, I think we have less say.
Yeah. Yes.
But we'll have to see. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are, because it's getting 500 billion is comparable to the national electric grid, right? And so they're building it in Abilene, Texas, New Mexico, and Michigan. There are 3 locations apparently.
Okay.
And they're using Nvidia GPUs, Oracle Cloud, and OpenAI models. So investment at this level creates barriers that competitors simply cannot match. Investment at this level creates, same thing again. The legal framework being used to judge this futuristic AI projects comes from the Sherman Act of 1890, a law written 135 years ago to break up railroad tycoons and oil barons. So we'll have to see. I do hope this goes up and things get worked out so that it becomes building these big AI data centers becomes a regular thing rather than legal super hoops that people have to jump through. But it needs to be accessible to the companies that are at the right level to do this kind of thing. So Stargate could be the engine that drives humanity to a new golden age of science, but the price might be handing the keys of the future to just 3 CEOs. Do you trust a $500 billion monopoly to play fair, or should the government step in before the ground is broken? Drop comments below, because this affects every piece of tech you'll use for the next 10 years. We'd love to hear what you think. What do you got going on, John? This is stuff that's going out in the next week or so.
Yeah, so we've got some events at the Toronto Business Development Center. I'm doing some lunch and learns in person there. It's a great organization, great incubator. And then February, what date is the Startup Drinks, Craig?
I closed that, so I'm not sure. February 19th, I believe.
February 19th, but have a look at startupdrinks.com. startupdrinksto.com for that event and other events. If you need some help with government funding, SHRED, or any other grants, reach out to me on LinkedIn. But if you're interested in AI automation workflows, or you need help with your business, what can they do, Craig?
Well, we've got lots of stuff going on over at flowgrammar.ca, where we help businesses implement AI and business automation so they can scale faster and more reliable, get more leads, grow faster. We also have a growing community over at flowgrammars.ca, where we do Flow Grammar Cafe, we do live build events, we do demo events, we get the community together online and in person several times a month to show and demo and support anybody who's trying to do this, learn automation, end-to-end AI agent building. So check all that out. We have a series of events called Flow Grammar Cafe. The next one's February 6th, March 6th, and April 2nd. We do those right now in partnership with Workhouse, and those are full day drop-in headphones, laptop, and work. And we'll have some experts on site that can help you troubleshoot. And we all kind of do a little walkthrough in the afternoon about what you're working on, and show us what you're working on and stuff. And it's really cool. So check all that out over at flowgrammar.ca and flowgrammars.ca. And coming soon, and you can sign up for this now, flowgramming.space, an AI agent and workflow marketplace where people can buy and sell agents or workflows. So if you're building agents and don't know what to do with them, where to sell them, go over there and check that out. Again, flowgramming.space. Or if you're building workflows, or if you want agents or workflows built, you can go over there and buy them. We have some interesting guarantees, and it's coming soon, so you can get your name on the waiting list right now. That's all we got going on, John. For everything else, go to torontostarts.com. I don't even think I mentioned it that whole time. Thanks everyone for watching. All the information about CES and these interesting things. Any last words, John?
No. Check out our next episode. We're going to be talking about the weird stuff at CES. So,
all right, everyone. Thanks for watching.